My name is Jürgen Gotthardt. I'm from Farrier from Germany.
You know, the very essence of the mental game is this. The only reason an event matters is because we make it matter.
Welcome to the Mullins Farrier podcast.
Every horse, whatever it was doing, had a season. Once their competition season finished, they took the shoes off, they chucked it out in the field with some other horses, and it had a 2, maybe 3 months period where it went and remembered what being a horse was all about.
Even in a cheaper area, your prices should be set by your skill level, by your experience. And some people might not feel that they're worth, as much as others. But if you're only charging $160 to shoe a horse, then the only way you're making money is on your trims.
The WCB was a way to make sure that you kept the trade alive. I think I'm a custodian of the trade, so it's like we have to keep it going.
It was hard, but you adapt and overcome, and that probably gets to me where I am now. It's problem solving, horseshoeing's problem solving, and back in the day it was problem solving how to be as strong as the older apprentices. So it's all about adapting and overcoming, which was good.
I know we learn every day, but you do have to put yourself outside the box and just continue to learn, which is why I was just trying to do my fellowship, because I still have apprentices, and if I stay at my AW, I'm stagnant.
Welcome, everyone. Well, we are just over a week away from the summit in Cincinnati, Ohio, and I am busy preparing to get stuff set up for that booth. This is a new endeavor for me, so we'll see how that pans out, but hoping to have some swag there and be able to meet and greet with so many of you while you're wandering the halls of the trade show. Also hoping to catch a few interviews while I'm there, so stay tuned for those. Today's guest I met at another convention across the pond at Focus in Stoneleigh. I hope I pronounced that right, Danny. Mr. Bennett and I have this running joke where apparently I don't say Stoneleigh properly. Anyway, this gentleman was walking the halls of Focus with the legendary David Gully, and he had in his hands a book that he got David, Danny, and myself to sign. You'll hear about it in the interview. Really cool gentleman. He has put a lot of time and effort into educating himself and doing a better job for the horses that he works on. I'm sure you'll gather that from the following conversation. I hope you enjoy it as much as I did.
I have learned a trade in south of Germany, in Bavaria, Stadt. And a couple of years later, I moved to America to the Lamanitis Symposium, and then also to England. And I saw Billy Crossett, how to make a shoe on the yard for the horse. And I was so impressed that I catch the chance and enroll in Myerscough College.
Oh, okay.
For foundation degree course by Mark Caldwell and Wayne Priest and some other guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I saw yesterday your shirt has a lot of letters on it. Could you tell me all the certifications that you have?
It's quite difficult. Some titles, I don't really know what it was, the journey, but it was incredible. So I learned a lot, and sometimes I stick back to the stuff what I catch up and did in my office, in my library, and read it again and again.
Right.
At first, it was a 3 years journey, foundation degree course, and also combination with an AWCF. I don't really know in the beginning what it will be in the end, but it was incredible.
So you're known as the high miler in this country. You've made that drive. How long was the drive from the college to your home and back?
It was always on a Sunday that I drive over with my shoeing rig. It is incredible long. It is 2 hours on the ferry, and all together it was 1,100 kilometers.
Wow.
And then stay Monday and Tuesday at the college for theory and practice. And Tuesday evening, overnight, I travel back home Altogether, it was 53 or 54 trips.
Wow. So once a month you did this?
Once a month, sometime a little bit more, 2 per month. Or we spent also a whole week or 2 weeks together at Myers Court for special training in preparing the exam or so. Yeah, a very long distance. And when the first 3 years was over, my supervisor, John Riley, came and said, "You are the right person to doing a BSc degree."
Oh, okay. So then you started that whole process.
Yeah, I started this, and also later I was member number 83 by the International Association of Professional Farrier in America.
Okay.
And there I did also the Credital Foundation
Yep, the
degree
foundational credits, yep.
And later the basic from Hunter and Jumper.
Right. Okay. Cool. Wow, you just, whatever you put your mind to, you just go for it.
I saw the difference, and I saw also the influence in my everyday shoeing offer, service, what I do, and it changed my mind completely, and I saw how much is available when I can use the English language a little bit more to read and to ask, and a networking group, and ask them about what they have opinion in that case, or that's change it completely.
Yeah. Now, in Germany, you have a registered system you have to follow first as well, right? Could you explain how that works?
Yeah, I not really know. Can we compare that with England or with America or with our country? So we have to stick as a young guy 2 years for practical experience with a farrier, and then later it is 4 months and final course for the final exam. And then it's allowed to be a farrier and offer the service.
Okay, so up until that point, is it like here where you would have to apprentice with somebody? You couldn't do your own horses?
I will say no, it's completely different.
Okay.
I see that also in England, that more and more they are willing to have a higher education level. So AWCF, that is completely different what is in Germany. In Germany, it is just basic. You put on a shoe from the box,
right?
You some hammer blows, and then it is all the higher education comes from themselves. How much clinics they go and see that.
Right, and that can be the same at home. You can decide to take other things, but you're not held to it at all.
No.
Yeah. Once you started this process of learning in the United States and in England, what were some of the things that you changed shoeing-wise from what you normally did back home?
So definitely I shoe much more horses with bar shoes.
Oh, really? Okay.
I explain it a couple of times to Mark Caldwell that I use 30% of bar shoes on horses, and he didn't believe it, really.
Yeah.
The answer was quite simple when I asked him why not many in England they do it, and he said it's not an English problem, it is a whole problem in the whole world. They do not carry bar shoes in the van.
Right.
So most farriers, they have a simple van.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and now it have changed to a welder machine or to a little bit more than the Americans. They have a big van with all the tools and all the welding machines and grinders, and they can also offer a different service on the horse.
Mm-hmm.
But the basic was in England and also in my country, open heel shoes. And if you asked a supplier, they're selling 90% on open heel shoes. And that was also the reason why I compare a frog support shoe with an open heel shoes. And from Red Rengin in America, he gave me also the advice, stick on the hind of the horse. If the hind is working well, that is the power machine, this is the powerhouse. And if they work well, the hind, the horse is not falling so much on the front limb.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Usually I would like to do it on Icelandics, my BSc degree, but there was not so great support.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then I stick back to show jumpers, and I found in my area a good facility and a supporting rider with a professional rider, an international trainer and rider, and he had a couple of horses. And I found a factory with a high-speed camera. They did the high-speed camera service, and I found also a statistic professional guy. He did a wonderful, good job in the statistic and explained it to me. So that was a really, really good BSc degree for myself. In the years later, I saw that it is a little bit unique because it was on a realistic, moving couple of horses. They are well written by a professional under the realistic training condition. And I had the respect from one of the greatest researcher in the world, that was Hillary Clayton.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I know that name.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the study? What did you do?
The study was when the highest peak of force is maybe in the hind limb. It was the jump, the takeoff of the hind limb, how the hind limb digs in the surface.
Okay.
So from Scott Lambert in America, I have learned this new word, footing. That means how the foot interact with the ground.
Right.
Yeah, from the initial contact to the break over or the come off of the surface.
Right.
And with these high-speed videos, we saw that the horse slightly different.
Yeah.
The jump was just 1 meter, but the measurements of angle orientation, how the hoof digs in the surface, was 30 degrees.
Really?
So a big, big range, would have a massive influence in all the upper limb, in the whole body, in the angle of how the horse jump over the fence.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, and that would have been a particular type of footing. And I guess if the footing is deeper or firmer, like that can make a huge difference in that angle, right?
Yeah. I had a couple of more datas, what is not in the BSc degree. I'm working on them now for a new fellowship thesis.
Okay.
It is the horse have to galloping 100 meter before it comes to the takeoff.
Okay.
So that we call them a flight pattern.
Right.
Of the hoof and of the whole locomotion of the hind limb, and that influence also the footing of the horse and everything. And then it comes to the takeoff. And this only the takeoff, this orientation of the hoof, that is in the BSc, but the galloping strides before, that is also an effect when we change the shoe.
Right.
Yeah?
Okay.
You can imagine.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I tried these forces and these angles what the horse had when it's just run over the surface. I tried to make a new dissertation for a fellowship thesis.
Okay. So that's next on your hit list, I guess?
That's on my actual list. I'm working since 90 on them.
Okay.
Due to COVID, there was a long break, and now the course will run again in January.
Okay. Oh, well, good for you.
Yeah, good for me, but also I'm very employed at home, and you can imagine I have invest in my car.
Right.
There are 2 high-speed camera and a special software to analyze horse locomotion.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
It's always an idea, what can I do with this tool to see how the footing is with a different shoe or with a different trim. And you can use these high-speed cameras not enough.
Right.
Not enough. I hope I find more support in the future, a guy what is willing maybe to help me to analyze how they move. Comparison. So yesterday I had a small talk with David Marlene, and he said that's a great tool.
Yeah.
What is well used in human sports.
Right. Yeah. That makes sense. What type of shoe do you typically put on the hind end of the horses that you work on? Is it just a straight bar shoe, or what do you typically, knowing what you know now from your research?
From my research, the really outcome was it is not necessary to have an hard bar shoe on the hind hoof.
Okay.
When we have a solid hoof horn and a balanced moisture level and a good dampening effect of the horn tubals, so a good hoof,
Mm-hmm.
then it is not so necessary. But when I see a soft and a distortion on the hoof, I begin to think how will be the moisture level
Okay.
in the hoof and how soft the horn tubals are. So we can, all type of shoeing fail, all shoes, they fail in my opinion, when the hoof horn is not there where it should be or where it could be.
Right.
So I have found these deep information about moisture level and this tool, the moisture meter, and use it also in a everyday service and show it to the customer that the moisture level is not there where it could be or should be,
Right.
and that in comparison to a paper carton, it is too soft and not stability enough.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a little bit an advice from Hayden Price years ago, that he said you will find a way or an answer that it is not so many times necessary to have a hard bar shoe on the hind.
Okay.
So if the horn is better, then it is not so necessary. And that is my conclusion after the last 5 years.
Okay. So you will just put a regular open-heeled shoe, or you'll put a straight bar on hinds?
I will say I use it more than in comparison than other Farriers.
Okay. So in what cases will you use? What makes you decide to put a bar shoe on?
I use it regular is when the hoof is too weak,
Okay.
too
So
soft.
that's, yeah.
Then I prefer a bar shoe.
Mm-hmm.
It could be a hard bar shoe, but it is a bar shoe is necessary.
Right.
It helps a lot
All right.
because it is a stable effect. It's stabilized.
Right. So the already moist foot that is going to be way more flexible, by having the bar shoe on, you're stopping some of that flex and distortion.
Maybe, it helps a little bit, but definitely for my high-speed video, what I did, also after the degree course, when I did it private for my own, I saw that it stabilized the anti-clockwise rotation in the surface.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So we did some comparison videos, barefoot,
Yeah.
and the horse was shot with a bar shoe on the hind and had a professional rider on the horse. And we saw that she explained that it is much better feeling,
Right.
but she didn't see how the foot rotate in the surface. But with a split screen video, one camera was on the whole horse with the rider, and the other camera was focused on the hoof orientation.
Mm-hmm.
And she saw the link between them.
Right. So basically the heels aren't dropping back in the footing.
Exactly. Yeah. So when it begins more than 5 degrees, that's if you have this feeling in the saddle. Sooner or later you have this feeling in the saddle when it anti-clockwise rotate.
Right. Okay. You'd be a good person to ask. On those horses you get that really crush the outside heel, is that something that you will put a bar shoe on to help? Or will you then put like a hard bar shoe or something and try and redistribute the weight on those? Do you know the ones I mean, where they'll really crush that lateral outside wall and it's really hard to balance it out with just trimming?
Yeah, I believe I know what you mean, but the cases could be different.
Mm-hmm.
It depends that the hoof is, or the whole limb is more placed under the body.
Yeah, like
Or-
sickle hock.
Or is it more placed away from the body?
Right.
We have
So many variables.
We have all variables of posture and how it stands in the everyday shoeing service.
Right.
And most of them, the diagnostic fail because the lameness in the surface where the horse is usually ridden or trained is different than where we inspect the horse.
Right. That's a good point.
That's amazing. So, example, last week I had a vet there and she confronted me with an X-ray picture, and I said to her that that's only a view of a structure. You do a structure diagnostic now.
Right.
But I know from the rider and from the horse itself and from my service, the horse is in the last 6 months very well on the way to perform.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But where you do the X-ray, that is not the surface where the horse compete and train.
Mm-hmm.
And that was in my career always an advice from an experienced farrier like Red Rentgen or the Hayden Price, what was going on the arena and inspect the horse, what is going on there.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I was usually a car mechanic, and we also did a brake test on the road.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
So with front feet, do you tend to put more bar shoes on front feet, or is that mainly a hind foot thing that you'll do that with?
No, that I try also to use bar shoes on front feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I have learned from, I think it was Professor Michael Weishaupt from the university in Swiss.
Okay.
He mentioned that the front is a brake.
Right.
Yeah. And the hind limb is a propulsion.
Yes.
So the front, they have much more braking forces. And it has to be stored in some structures.
Right.
For the next stride, for the next part of the stride.
Right.
It is from the evolution, it is a magic thing how a horse is constructed.
Yeah, no kidding.
And we measure more on the hind limb, how is the propulsion of the horse. Yeah, how it goes forward, how much load he can pull. And so that's, and when we stick in this area of biomechanics and kinetics and kinematics, then it's far away from the job what we do normally as a horseshoer with a shoe and with a couple of nails. That's a practical part. The other is a part that we read more instructions and how they explain it to us.
Right. Now, do you find from using your slow motion video, how important are you in the whole concept of breakover? Is it something that you put a lot of breakover in shoes, or do you find that just perimeter fit often does the job you want it to? How do you feel about that?
My personal outcome or take-home message or whatever you like to call, the older the horse is, the more breakover it needs.
Yeah. Yeah, I find that myself too. Yeah.
Yeah. The position of the fetlock is going more and more down with years and with kilometers, how much kilometers the horse have on his clock.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So I compared sometime with the boob holders.
Yeah.
I always thinking about this suspension. Yeah, the suspensory ligament.
Yeah.
Yeah, when it comes older, then the position of the fetlock is not in the same place.
Right.
Yeah, and that needs to be see also on your shoeing.
Yes, to account for it.
Yeah, then that makes the breakover easier for the horse and also for human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, you see those shoes that really old people wear, and they have a lot of breakover in them. Yeah, for sure.
And there's nothing different what the older guys, the older shoemakers and older horseshoers, what they did in the past. Yeah, when they show pictures from a horse, what they shot when the horse was 5 years old,
Yeah.
and then when the horse was 10 years old, and then when the horse was 15 years old, completely different.
Right.
You have to ask them why you did it. What was the reason?
Mm-hmm.
And they will explain it, and the world didn't change.
Yeah. Yeah, it is amazing how much they figured out without all of the technology that we have now, just through this is what worked.
Yeah.
Over time, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Huh. Well, I guess I should ask you, what brings you out to focus here?
I was really disappointing about COVID time
Yeah.
that I can't go. Yeah. So it is my second home, England.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't thank enough to Mark Colwell, David Gully, Peter Hampson in the south, Bernie Titmarsh, and so many experienced Farrier. And by this trip, I had a very, very nice night and education from Cecil Swan. He teach me again how to use the gas forge right to save 30 or 40% of the gas and makes the shoe more efficiently hot.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and save gas a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And he said also that it's not well known by farriers. They work on the coke fire and also not with the gas forge. And I had this flame trimmer and flame monitor since the first day it was available in my car. And he gave a wonderful clinic also in my house. He's a very nice chap and very experienced guy.
Right.
Yeah.
And it will save you money when you go home, right?
Yeah, but it's not the money. It is what I invest when I come over and see what's going on. And this from a simple international shoeing and horseshoeing contest here in England, it is now wow.
Yeah.
It is really wow. And I can't believe why I'm the only German here. Actually,
Yep.
I offer so good chance to come with me and visit England again and again, and we can share the driving cost and
Right. Yeah.
But I'm alone. But I enjoy it.
Yeah. I have a question for you. How do you say Farrier in German? What's the word for Farrier?
Hufbeschlagsschmied. Hufschmied.
Hufschmied?
Hufschmied, yeah. A horseshoer is, in my opinion, more than a horse doctor. So for my old shoemaker, I have this experience. He made shoes for a human, he know him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and not shoe for the shop.
Oh, okay.
That is the trend, what you see in the whole world, that we now inspect the horse more, and it's more individual, what we do.
Yes.
The service, what we do.
Yeah.
We had also some guys, they're making only shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then you have to shape them in the style what you want.
Right. This portion of the podcast is called the Stratum Tectorium. These are the short answer, surface stuff questions, but it's okay if the guest wants to go deeper. Enjoy. What is your favorite book?
My favorite book is definitely this book what I had here in the hand, what you signed.
Yeah.
It keeps me so much thinking what I have learned from these guys and how they have an influence in my life. Also keep them back in how to balance my life with my family.
Right. Yeah, so
a nice book.
For those, obviously we're in an audio format, so you can't see it, but Jürgen has this very nicely bound book that when I first walked into him at the hall, he was holding in his hand and he got David Gully and Danny and myself to sign it. And it goes back to the 90s, does it not?
Yeah.
And there are signatures of some pretty big legends, and it's just the people that you've run into over the years and who've taught you some things. There are a few pictures in there, and I hope someday you publish that, make some copies of it and publish it. It would be a very interesting book for other people to see your journey.
Yeah, the advice what some give in the book, that is incredible.
Yeah.
They're coming straight from the heart.
Yeah, that I can see why that's your favorite book.
Yeah.
What is your favorite rounding hammer?
My favorite rounding hammer is a hammer what I have self-made.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, there is a blacksmith in my area, and he gave me a lesson, and he did it with me together.
Okay.
Yeah, but I not use it very well. The other favorite hammer what I have is a hammer from a Farrier in south of England.
Okay.
It's from Peter Hampson. It's a cat's head hammer.
Okay. Yes, I've heard of those. I haven't seen one yet, but yeah. What is your favorite make of rasp?
It have changed a little bit from one type to the other, but the last one, and it's Hella, the green tang.
Okay. Yep. Favorite brand of nails?
GP.
GP.
That's from MNC.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, I don't think we have those at home. What's the ideal number of horses for you to shoe all around in one day?
5.
Okay. Do you usually have help or do you work on your own?
No, by my own.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is your favorite brand of keg shoe?
Vulcan EP.
Okay.
I think it's a good mix of a 3/4 fullet and a traditional English concave.
Okay. Yeah.
It gives the horse more grip on the concrete surface where they are, usually going from box to the riding arena.
Yeah.
It's a strong shoe for a very fantastic price in the end.
Okay. Yep. What is your favorite section of steel to work with? Favorite size or concave or straight?
It's 3/8 by 7/8.
Yeah.
Yeah, concave. I buy in the past maybe 7 or 8 tons.
Yeah.
The only one.
Yeah.
Crazy
Stockpile.
guy.
Yeah, no kidding.
Crazy guy.
What is your favorite anvil?
Oh, that's unique. It's a Bob Marshall.
Oh, really?
It's a Bob Marshall anvil. I buy 3 of them here in England by Robert Marshall, but they are not longer available. It's a very long horn. It's a very hard anvil.
Yeah.
And it's from steel. In the inside is no material.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
A very, very unique anvil.
No kidding.
Yeah.
It would probably seem very weird to use a regular anvil after using that. Probably feel different.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is your dream Farrier rig?
That's definitely a VW, what I drive.
Yeah.
But it should be a strong engine inside. But they're braking
Oh, really?
a lot in Germany.
Yeah, that's no good. What's your favorite pastime after work?
Riding.
Okay.
Yeah, I have 30 Icelandics and Holsteiner mare and a Spanish guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What's next on your bucket list?
Find an end to these fellowship days.
Yep, right.
Course.
Right. Okay.
It start again in January.
Right. Oh, good for you. What's your favorite method of soothing aches and pains?
I go every morning in my hot tube, in my bubble bath.
Yep.
Yeah, there's always 36 degrees in them, and it's so unbelievably good for the muscle pain.
Yes, for sure. I find the exact same thing. It's a great way to start the day.
It's an unbelievably good investment, and it was. So I had a vertebrae disc what was coming out, and I fixed it with my own wellness center downstairs.
Oh, okay. Yeah. What is your favorite drink?
My favorite drink is usually Coke with a whiskey in them.
Okay. Do you have a favorite brand of whiskey?
No, but David Gully sent me a lot.
Do you work out?
Yes, I did every year a triathlon, bicycle ride, swimming, and running.
Wow.
And once or 2 per year skydiving.
Skydiving?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. So that's why you look way more fit than most of the people that I've seen out there in the hall.
Skydiving is a little bit special. You jump out of the plane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a brave man. Not afraid of heights.
You realize no pain. Yeah. No crush. No, nobody is there. Yeah. And it's magic.
Yeah. I can imagine. I'd like to try that someday. If you were stuck in a shop with somebody for a month, who would you want it to be?
With my wife.
That's a good answer. I hope she hears that. Yep. And the final question, what would you have been if not a farrier?
Definitely not a car mechanic. I repair something on my car, but I'm not a car mechanic. Something with horses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Jürgen, for doing this. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you very much for the podcast.